Welcome back, everybody. My name is Rodrigo, founder, host of Asheville Real Estate News. Really excited to have you guys back on the show today. Kind of the theme of this month, have you noticed, is just talking about the different stories and the paths people have taken on their journey in real estate and how that's playing out for them. So today, really excited and happy to welcome one of my good friends, actually, who's actually doing some real estate out in the Colorado area, and just talk about his journey and the different transitions he's had in that time frame. So without further ado, just also want to remind everybody, our podcast is brought to you guys by American IRA. So if you haven't checked them out, please do so already. We're a local IRA custodian here in the area. Great company, also a client of theirs. So Scott Bolte, welcome to the show.
Hey, Rodrigo, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, absolutely. It's so glad to have you here in town visiting. Thanks for coming in.
It's fun. It's fun that we can finally sit down and kind of hash out our two different journeys, because we started in a somewhat similar fashion, and it seems like our roads have kind of diverged in certain directions and are very similar in some directions too.
For sure. So we met back in 2009, going to school here in the Asheville area. Mm-hmm. Did a million different things before real estate was on either of our horizons.
Right.
And I started a little earlier than you did, but why don't you kind of give backdrop to everybody as far as how you got into it and how you went from Asheville to Colorado?
Sure. Well, the move to Colorado was strictly before anything, I try to be an outdoor enthusiast. Mm-hmm. I follow my passions. And so the fuel in the tank is the passion and the love for the outdoors. And so Colorado is a natural direction because of that love. The great thing about real estate is it's an occupation where wherever people live in houses or some kind of real estate. So when I moved out there, essentially was starting from scratch. Mm-hmm. It's blank canvas. It could be whatever I make it to be. So in that sense, it's really fun to have such a clearly defined chapter.
Right.
It's like, I moved to Colorado, 2017, September 17th.
Mm-hmm. Very clear beginning.
Like, this is the beginning of that chapter. And so it was also the beginning of my new real estate career chapter. And living in Asheville while I was going through school, worked a little bit in wholesales, trying to, we joined the local real estate investing association. Yeah. So dipped my toes into it, played a little bit, like learned some of the jargon, the lingo, the what's and the who's, but didn't really dive headfirst into real estate all the way until I moved to Colorado.
So 2017, 2 years ago, essentially.
Essentially.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And when you first got there, you decided to dive in headfirst. And what did you start with, and how was that plunge then? How did you even get started?
Right, because that's the big thing.
Right.
Most people stop before they even get started. Mm-hmm. So, like a lot of people, I'd read the books, the Robert Kiyosaki's and the what have yous, and they talk a lot about the accessibility to real estate via wholesaling.
Right.
Right. You don't need not a lot of overhead, not a lot of money down. There's not a lot of risk involved.
Right.
So, full intention to dive headfirst in the real estate market via wholesaling. Mm-hmm. However, which I had some practice with in Asheville, but ended up. Go ahead, please.
Just in case somebody doesn't know what wholesaling is.
Wholesaling.
Yeah.
Right. So you negotiate with the seller to get a property under contract for a certain price.
Yep.
It gives you the equitable interest in that property. Most contracts have an and/or assign clause, which then you can turn around and assign that contract to somebody else, and you typically receive some kind of finder's fee for it. Makes sense. It's hard work to find good deals, so you should be rewarded for that opportunity for someone like a fix and flipper or somebody who wants to do a buy and hold to go ahead and purchase that from you for a small finder fee.
So you started doing that?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, that was my intention, full force. And what I'm about to say, I really want to make an emphasis on, especially to people who are still just getting started. Mm-hmm. So for the first 8 months, my primary focus was networking. Mm-hmm. Another major difference between markets is coming from Asheville. There's basically one big meetup group or association, maybe a few smaller meetup groups. But essentially, you've got the local real estate investors association.
But now you have our meetup group as well, part of Asheville Real Estate News' meetup,
which everybody should be about, in my opinion. So when I moved out to Colorado, way different scene. And so I spent the first about 8 months immersing myself into the networking scene to meet as many people as I possibly could. And I learned a lot through this. And I think that's super important because there's no way anybody can do any real estate, in my opinion, without the help of other people. Like, this is a full-on team sport. And you need contacts, especially moving into a new area.
Yeah. So was your networking intentional, or was it kind of just like going through the motions and then you started realizing like, wow, I'm building some good relationships. I'm going to go all in on the relationship side first?
I built a spreadsheet and I had a list of every single real estate meetup group, every RIA, every club, made a list of it, and then took notes based off of my experience with that group and what I thought of people. So in Colorado, there are many meetup groups. You can go into meetup and there's over 20.
Wow.
And some of them are very large. So the first thing I did was I signed up for every single one and got to know the different personality types that went to each group.
Right.
And basically tried to commit more so to the groups that I felt held the same values that I held. And so after I kind of got the what's what, I actually ended up working for one of the associations. And that really helped just like really establish like good relationships. It's one thing to know people on the surface, but it's got to go one step deeper. So say you'll never get to the deal unless you get to the people first. So it was all about relationship making first. And I truly believe, like, if you're just getting started, for example, like, that is what you do first. Get to know the people, learn from them. For the most part, I mean, you could probably testify to this. The people in this industry are very excited and enthusiastic to share knowledge.
Yeah, I think overall that's fair. Not everybody does it. You know, there's different ways to do it, but I mean, I started very similar, right? I went to the RIA, started going to all the meetings, started volunteering, and just, you know, I think it also depends kind of where you're coming from and if you have experience or not and how old you are. But for me, you know, when I started, I was 22, and so I didn't have any experience. Didn't look like I knew anything, obviously, because I was super young and just kind of figuring it all out. You know, I'd never even heard about, you know, buying a house or any experience of it and whatnot. Barely even knew how to rent a house, you know? And so it was just good to get around people and just talk to people and just be a consistent face.
And it's a whole new vernacular as well.
For sure. It's a new language. So you did that. You got plugged in with the RIA group, started working with them. When did you start wholesaling?
Great. So here's a perfect lead in. So here's the thing. So I went into the Colorado market with the full intention of being a wholesaler. So that's how I was introducing myself. And that was my intention. I signed up for a lot of online things. I was doing cold calling, working the wholesaling thing. Now, really important part to deciding what aspect of real estate you're going to go into is, you know, what is conducive to your market. You know, so what is the most advantageous? How could you leverage yourself best based on the market that you're in?
And your skill set.
Absolutely. So full intention going in wholesaling, that's what I had the most experience in. It makes the most sense. The market, however, is super saturated with wholesalers. And not just mom and pop boutique wholesalers. Denver particularly is the headquarters for a number of very large national wholesaling groups. Companies that have, you know, bots that scrub the MLS for good deals, and they've got 11 offers out submitted every day by 7 a.m. And so I'm going head to head with these massive wholesaling companies. And then on top of that, you do have the mom and pop boutiques. So you've got like the heavy hitters who are doing like the big scrub. And then you've got the mom and pop who are specializing in probate
picking up the crumbs or whatever.
Picking up the crumbs. And then you've got the new kid coming in who thinks he's going to be able to make a dent. And I worked on this for a long time, you know, so months, hitting my head against the wall. And, you know, they just say, you know, like, am I 3 feet from gold? Am I 3 feet from gold? You know, just pound, until I gave myself basically a concussion. So ultimately, like, this is not to say that wholesaling doesn't work in Colorado. It does. For my position, particularly, it made a lot more sense because these wholesalers were so wildly available, and it was so difficult to find deals on my own. I decided for me to leverage my time more effectively, I would simply buy from the wholesalers, pay the wholesaling fee happily, because it's so difficult to find these.
So you just started focusing on doing fix and flips essentially.
So went full-time fix and flips. I decided. Now, I mean, I think there's a million and one things you can do in real estate, right? You can notes, mortgage,
whatever,
everything, whatever. Specialize.
So how did you get into fix and flips when you had just started and you didn't have any money?
I went mountain biking.
Did you now? How was that?
So going back to relationships. So everybody knows you've got to have money that comes from somewhere to buy a house. There are hard money lenders. A lot of times hard money lenders will lend 70% LTV, 80% LTV. It's very difficult to get 100% from a hard money lender, especially without a resume that says you've done a bunch of deals.
Correct.
So you've got to find private money somehow. And there's private money laying around all over the place.
Everywhere. That is true.
So that's where the relationship
aspect comes in. You were just biking, had a relationship with somebody, a couple times riding, then it came up, you're like, hey, I'm looking at buying a house.
It was a friend of a friend. We happened to have mountain biking in common. We happened to go mountain biking together.
Yeah.
Oh, she owns a couple, rentals in Denver here and there that she picked up 15 years ago. Oh, you've got like a bunch of equity in your properties. Oh, you say you can get a HELOC loan for a pretty low interest. I just found this property. They only want $305,000, and it's got close to a 450 ARV. What do you think? I found the deal. You've got the money. So we started a company. We named it Full Squish Rehabs. Full Squish is being a reference to a full suspension mountain bike. Yeah. And so that's how the fix and flips got started. 100% got through the relationships, but you have to be able to bring value.
Right. So you were doing everything.
So one of the biggest values that I brought to her, now even though she was involved with real estate and had rentals and everything, I was so plugged into the active who's and what's of the market that I had those wholesaling contacts. So I was able to bring a deal, and I was able to find contractors, and if we needed advice about this or that, I knew
you could run the project, right?
I essentially ran the project. So I needed help purchasing, and she needed logistical help. 50-50 split.
It's good fit.
Yeah, perfect fit.
So I don't know if you remember this or not, but my first deal was funded by somebody I met at a RIA, but then it happened because we actually went whitewater kayaking afterwards. And while we were on the river, that's when he was like, if you do have the house, let me know. I'll look at it. I'll fund it for you. Right. And it was my same thing. It was like I didn't, it was just pure relationship based, and it was. I mean, it kicked everything off.
Yeah. And one of the things that I love about both of our stories is that kind of a testimony to also just being like authentic and genuine and true to yourself. I see a lot of real estate guru types with diamond earrings and all this fancy stuff. Sometimes it's alienating, I believe. But if and it's different for everybody.
I think it's just it's just be consistently whoever you are, right? And then whatever happens, but at least you don't have to worry about retracing steps or saying something different at any point in time.
If you love biking, like there are going to be other people out there who also love biking who do real estate.
For sure.
So we could create like a friendship first, and that's how initially got started.
It makes a big deal. So let's jump ahead a little bit. So you bought your first house. When was that, by the way?
This last year. A few months ago.
So 18 months ago?
Year and a change. Let's say 18 months ago or so.
And since then, you've done multiple projects.
Right.
You're in the middle of multiple projects.
Right.
What's been the best part so far over the last 18 months?
It's going to be different for everybody.
For me, what was your favorite thing?
For me personally, what I love and hate at the same time equally with these renovations is the creative aspect of it. There is a lot of opportunity for design, but there's also a lot of opportunity for just like creative problem solving. So you have a problem, and then you've got to solve it, and it comes in all different shapes and sizes with these houses. Whether or not you have to figure out, if a wall is load bearing, what color the house is going to be, this and that. What's fun is putting all those different puzzle pieces together and sort of being the master architect for an entire house.
I hate that.
And I
personally,
and I love it. When you get into the nuts and bolts, I don't like it. I'm much more of a visionary, and I'm a terrible manager. I don't like repetition, and I don't like work that it doesn't require some kind of creative innovation. Like I like innovating. So for me, that was like one of the most exciting parts. The nuts and bolts of the project, and also just the people aspect of it.
Right.
So it's fun searching for mentors and gurus when you have a specific thing in mind.
Right.
I mean, for me to have a project going on, say, look, I've got this project. It's real. I have this real problem now. Like, how do I solve this?
Yeah.
So that's really fun for me.
What's been your highest high?
Well, when it sells.
No, but that you've experienced so far. Was it a specific deal that sold, or when was it, like, what was your, looking back over the last 18 months, you're like, that memory still feeds me, it fuels me.
Great, so I've got two answers for that. The first one was the sell. So this is my first fix and flip ever. This was with the Squishy Bike Company.
Yeah.
And we finished our house. You know, I'm personally frantically like putting the yard together at the very last minute because the photographer's coming.
No doubt.
So we can get MLS pictures, and I'm like, wait, the mailbox has got to be just right. Right. So we get it listed, and then not only do we have an offer in 9 days, we closed in 9 days.
Wow.
It was a couple first-time home buyers. They came in with 50% down, waived all objections to inspections. We closed on the house 9 days later. I don't know what's customary in Asheville, but so we sold it for $450,000. And that's kind of like a low to mid-range home value in Colorado now. But to have somebody come with half of that in cash and say, we want it, we want to close it as soon as possible. That was like, all right, in that moment, proven concept. Right. I'm a fix and flipper. It works. I'm good at it. This is great. Rinse and repeat.
Okay. And what was the lowest low?
The lowest low. The lowest low was when I had actually a contracting team signed to do this house. Right. And we actually bought the house with their bid in mind. Sort of bought it together. Not that they had equity, but so here's their bid for the project. Yeah.
You made the decision based off of what they told you.
What those numbers are. Right. Right. Hey, we can do the project for $80,000 and we can do it in 2 months. Right. Perfect. Same people that we did the first project, so we have a little bit of trust. Ends up happening, so we get 3 weeks into the project, they do a bunch of work, we're paying them on a weekly basis. And then we just start realizing like there's only one guy on the job site. There's only 2 guys on the job site. They're only there 3 days a week. We start asking questions. What's going on, guys? Like, is everything okay? What's going on? And we notice like the quality of the work isn't the same, and communication started to break down. 3 weeks into the project, we get a phone call and they walk off the job. Totally walk off the job. Took some of my tools with them. Oh, man. The whole project is just in shambles. The house is trashed. The floorboards are not put. Like, all the work that they did, we had to demo and redo. The house sat for another month because we had to get the whole project rebid out again. So we're another month's interest payment on our hard money loan, which is a lot of money. And it also pushed the listing time period for when we wanted to have this house on the market way back too. Not only that, the new contractors, their numbers were way higher than what we anticipated. Not lesson on get what you pay for. Sometimes you can get away with it, but I mean, lesson learned. I mean, our $80,000 budget turned into $140, and it happens. So that was a really hard pill to swallow. I learned a lot from it. So essentially paid $60,000 for a really good lesson. But that, I mean, it doesn't make it any more fun to live through. No, it doesn't make it less. It doesn't make it hurt less bad, right? Right. Still painful. It's all about your attitude and perspective. You can use it for good, but it's not a fun experience. We had one similar like that. Bought the house based to fix it up, and we get into it. Dude walks off the project. He's like, "Oh, but I'm going to leave you in good hands with these guys who are going to take it over." They come look at it. They're like, "Yeah, this is like, there's nothing to do here. Like, this has to be torn down. Like, it's more expensive to fix it than to do a new build." Yep. It's like significantly changes what your numbers are and what you can do. So same exact situation. Again, one of the reasons I don't like rehabbing is that experience and that story as much. So So looking back with everything, what do you think's been the most important lesson you've learned? It's been a series of lessons along the way, a series of important lessons along the way. So. The first one was leveraging my relationships, building those relationships. The second one was specializing. I think it's really important to focus on something. I think initially it's good to understand all those creative options, but then ultimately I think pick one of them. And then thirdly, and this is the lesson that I'm learning right now, which is probably going to be, I don't want to say most important, but you can take this lesson and apply it to everything. Right. And that is organization, essentially. So right now, we've started a new company with new partners, with new opportunities, and what we're being very intentional about right now is the prioritization of systems and processes and data tracking and understanding what works and what doesn't work. Depending on what you want to do, your mode of operations are going to be different. Right. For me personally, I want to have a rinse and repeat process. I'm trying to build a very well-oiled machine. And so we don't want to have to pick out SKU numbers from Home Depot for every single project. Right. So one of the things we're doing is we're building a SKU catalog with pictures. so that when we go and put our scope of works together, it's a matter of clicking and dragging for the items that are applicable to these renovation problems. Because anybody who's done a rehab understands how many different parts there are to a house, and there's a lot of them. And if you're trying to take into account and consideration every single part of the house for every single deal, there's no way you're doing more than 4 deals a year, in my opinion, unless you're doing nothing else. And
I don't know. I wouldn't be able to speak to that because I've never really, dived into that because, not our model specific is 100% fix and flips. It's very one-offs. But
the better organized you are, the easier it's going to be to leverage your process. Heard. So our system now is we're front-loading all of the work, or front-loading every project with a ton of administrative work. So we build a very, very elaborate scope of work, no gray areas. Right. So if you want trim and baseboard around your house, you don't just say install new trim and baseboard. You need 4-inch craftsman style square beveled baseboard or baseboard painted whatever color. For us it's gentle rain, Home Depot SKU number, whatever. Yeah. But it's so you
get down super detailed, and that's probably anything you do. It always helps when you have a very systemized process. So that's cool. That's awesome to hear, man. Really.
So that's a big lesson right now.
So what are you looking forward to the most as we wrap things up?
I'm
moving forward now.
Yeah. So what I'm most excited about right now is just this coming year in general. 2019 is going to be really exciting. So if you consider, me really diving into real estate head first, say 18 months ago, whatever it was, I've got 3 fix and flips right now going. Looking forward to the end of 2019, would really like to have 10 to 12 fix and flips done in 2019. What's exciting is to think about how we're going to leverage and scale this company. Right. And so the learning process as far as the mechanics of how the fix and flip work is done. Right. Now it's now I want to build a business. And so I'm really excited about building this business. We are going to start doing some wholesaling because now we're established. We've got company income. That makes sense. We can do that. I'm more localized and specialized within a specific market. And I know the who's and the what's. I wouldn't have to find buyers. So no overhead for for buyer marketing. And so it's gonna be really exciting for me personally to see how this company grows. And for me, it's really exciting. Like I said, being more of the entrepreneur and less of the manager. This is where I get to have my fun because I'm building this gear here and putting this cog here and trying to get all these pieces to flow together. So for me, the fun of actually building the nuts and bolts of a company, extremely exciting. And so the end of 2019, that'll sort of be the test. I want to build all the gears,
see if it works,
press the button, right, and then when it doesn't work, do some troubleshooting because it's not everything's going to work the first time.
Heard.
But definitely progress over perfection.
Cool.
We're putting it together as we go along and fixing things as we go along.
Super exciting, man. Best of luck on that journey.
Yeah, thank
you. It's been fun to hear the stories and see the evolution over the last year and a half, and excited that that's come to fruition for you like that.
Yeah, really excited for the growth of the company. And just as the self, how this all will come together.
Sweet, man. Well, thanks for coming in. Thanks for visiting. Asheville misses you. But hopefully connect again in the near future, and thanks for jumping on the show today.
Yeah, man. I hope it's not the last time.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. All right, there you guys have it. I hope you enjoyed this story. As always, everybody's journey is just a little bit different in real estate, and hopefully you've been able to pick up a couple of different perspectives and just opinions on what your journey might be moving forward. As a quick reminder, first Wednesday of every month, we've got our meetup over at Archetype Brewing. It starts at 5:30. First 10 people get there, get a free beer on us. Just come on out and come help support us, support Archetype. Look forward to seeing you all there. Until next Tuesday, guys. See ya.